Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers review, thanks to the guys over at Robot Kingdom. Today we're taking a look at my second leader class figure in the Power of the Primes line. This is the Evolution RODIMUS Prime. Finally we get a Hot Rod to RODIMUS combination that isn't a masterpiece figure that falls apart, done by Hasbro and Takara. On the back of the box we get the same old, where we have Hot Rod and RODIMUS, and we have the matrix of leadership, and we get the information provided on the side there that says that the center of the matrix can be swapped out, much like I did with Primes. Here he is out of his plastic prison. He's not bad, but in the words of my 9-year-old dad, he's a little bit wibbly wobbly. Yes, I think my son pretty much hit the nail on the head. We do get a matrix, opted for the yellow and silver there. We get his card as well. RODIMUS Nexus single-handedly battles Decepticon combiners, because he is hard in it. We get a instruction manual, tells us how to go from this to vehicle mode and from this to Hot Rod. Basically it's similar to what we got with the Optimus Prime, but the Optimus Prime itself was one big unit with Orion packs that joins into the center. This is 3 separate pieces that kind of join over, and to be honest with you, I don't like how they've done it. First of all, weapons wise, he gets a very long gun, very similar to what he got in his masterpiece toy. This I think is more acceptable than Prime's one. It's longer, and both weapons look like weapons when they're separated, so the guns are okay, but look at the state of those shoulders. That's Hot Rod's legs just bent over. They don't work. I really wanted this guy to be as awesome as I thought he was going to be, but he isn't. He's very thin, very hollow. Somebody commented on my Prime review saying I compared it to the original Power Master Prime from the 80s and 90s, but then they pointed out that these are a lot more hollow and they were big solid lumps back in those times, and they're completely right. These are very hollow. We do have a fairly substantial backpack thing going on here. We can see all the way through, and look at those leg joints. I am literally having to hold him up with my fingers to keep him from flopping over. Now I know these are designed for 8 years plus, but if my son wants to mess around with this guy, he is going to fall over and he's not going to last. I can't imagine these are going to survive any shelf dives. They just feel cheap and feel like they're going to break, which is such a shame, because initially I thought just how good this guy looks, but as soon as you get in there and start playing around with him, it's really not practical what they've done. Now I know they've kind of tried to expand from what Titan's Returns did, and they've got the animation with RODIMUS and that in, so the head sculpt and things like that, they're very good, they're nice and true, and he does look like an aged battle warrior. Again, they've applied their own stickers, but they haven't done it to a very high standard. We have some differences in paint shading. I mean, this one is a lot darker than what this side is. They just look off. Don't really know what they were doing there. I think they were having a bad day at the factory when this was being produced. It's okay, you know, it's not amazing. It is exactly that. It's just okay. Personally, I think Prime works leaps and bounds better than what this guy does, but at the same time I know there's going to be people out there, the RODIMUS fans, that think this is an exceptional piece compared to Prime. For a quick scale comparison, here he is alongside Masterpiece Hot Rod and my G1 Hot Rod. Now I like that they've gone for the more G1 toy inspired colour scheme, and that I like. I never actually had the, well, I did have the G1 toy, but I took it into school when I was in reception or kindergarten for show and tell, and I put it in the show and tell box, and then at the end of the day it had gone, somebody had taken it. And I remember my sister was babysitting a boy called Brett. Brett had no interest in Transformers whatsoever, and she saw that suddenly he had a RODIMUS on his shelf. So to this day I swear that that boy took my RODIMUS. Anyway, I'm slightly digressing. This is what he looks like. He does look somewhat boxy. He does come across very reminiscent of kind of a cheaper knockoff version of the Parallax kit that we got from Fans Project back in the day, where they'd done the classics Hot Rod and turned him into a RODIMUS. It kind of looks like a cheaper bootleg of that third-party product. Here he is alongside Masterpiece and Megatron. People rightly pointed out that there aren't a great deal of figures that these leader class will scale with. I think we've got the likes of Combiner Wars, Megatron, and some of the leaders from the Titans series, but these really don't scale with anything else in the current line. For example, the Dinobots and the Seekers, etc., they're all very small figures compared to these leaders. And here he is alongside Prime. See, I still think the Prime does look the better of the two, and I'm really hoping for a remold and kind of repaint this guy into a very good Ultra Magnus. They could get a fantastically good G1 style Ultra Magnus out of this. Access to his matrix chamber, it's not as fluid as Prime's. You have to grab this, untab from the torso and lift all of that up, and it looks like Hot Rod's doing some sort of yoga in this position. And we can bring the matrix in and slide into place, and we bring this back down, and in theory this is meant to kind of tab in to the side of Hot Rod's chest plate. There we go, that's that's tabbed in, and he's now like super strong. Now before I completely write off RODIMUS, let's check out his articulation. The head can move left and right. Love the expression on there. No tilt there really, and no quizzical tilting. Up and down on the shoulders. They can move all the way around. You can actually get a little bit of rotation inwards and outwards. These just play off Hot Rod's thighs. You can move those around and get those into a better position, but I don't really want to hold much weight. There is a waist under here, but it doesn't rotate. The flaps can pull forwards, which allows for friction forwards, backwards kind of, out to the side-ish rotation there. 90-ish degree bend on the knees. And then we get some rotation on the feet. Heel spurs are separate, and we do get some tight pivots. So although he can actually hold a stance pretty well, he just looks so unnatural and untidy doing it. The arms are attached by pegs. They can just be taken off. We already know that we can lift up this torso piece to get the majority of Hot Rod out. And the last retaining clip is this one just underneath the crotch area. We can just untab that piece and just pull and slide Hot Rod out. So let's get him transformed up into his robot mode. Flip open his shins, bring his feet down, close those back off, and you can already see that we're going to have to rotate the legs around. So bring them down from the yoga position, rotate them around, lift this up, flip down his feet, close that off. The arms are attached either side of the top piece. We can just untab those and bring those down, untab those and bring those down. Open up the chest, lift up the torso, rotate it around, push that back in. That's now going to slide up and over the RODIMUS head, tabbing into place. Make sure that this piece is tabbed into the back of Hot Rod's torso. We can then rotate this around, bring this back up, and there's a notch just inside there where this is going to bring inwards, and that's going to tab and fix into place, and that is pretty much it for Hot Rod. He looks 1,000 times better than what RODIMUS did. Considering how much I dislike the RODIMUS figure, Hot Rod is actually one of my favourite Voyager figures from this line. He really does capture that G1 kind of likeness in a nice blend with that classics version of Hot Rod. He just looks fun. He's a fun figure. And yes, I know he's smaller than the Masterpiece figure, but he's got some very nice traits of the original. We have these markings on the shoulders, we have the nice flame up and over the chest, and we have this nice kind of V-neck section going on. We have the very similar stickers applied to those legs. He's a very nice nod. My biggest gripe about him are the exhaust sections which come over the hands. I would like those to have been brought further backwards so they're level with the hands, but that's beggars being choosers. This is aimed at children, and I think it's a very nice looking figure. So seeing him squared up against some of the other figures from the line, he does look exceptionally good. I'm really looking forward to them doing Orion Pax as Cup. I think that would be a very good repaint. He isn't out yet, is he? Have they done that yet? No, they haven't for this line, have they? Either way, it's going to be good because he'll scale exceptionally well with Hot Rod. Now, I do have to apologise for the exterior noise in this video. I'm actually in the middle of Storm Eleanor, which is fantastic. Very high winds and rain beating down on my shed. The downsides are working outside, I guess. So I apologise if they're interfering with the audio. But let's get him changed up into his vehicle mode. You can just remove those weapons. We want to place his feet back inside the legs and just close those off. And the same goes with the chest. Lift that back up, flip that around, tab that back in. The arms are going to pull down along the side, rock these shoulders back up to the top so that they tab in to the front of that bonnet. The feet are in this position. You want to bring the exhausts over, and there's a filler piece which fills that gap there and then tabs in to the base. We can then lift this piece up, rotate it around, and then there is a tab either side. Those are going to slide in and just push and tab in fully, and there we go. There is Hot Rod in his vehicle mode, and that's actually pretty nice. It's not perfect. You've got a few small gaps on the inside there, but he definitely looks fast, and he does actually roll quite nicely. And as far as vehicle modes go, you know, that's a pretty good size, especially for a Voyager figure these days. I'm quite happy with that. And then let's convert his trailer into the Winnebago. You want to bring this piece up. This is going to flip up and rotate around. The legs are going to push in and tab together. This is going to flip upwards, and then this piece will come over like so. This can then be unplugged and rolled over to the back so it sits down behind those legs, and then they can be brought forwards, covering off the front of this piece. Bring the legs forward at those knee joints. These are going to slide and tab in to the shins. It's a very tight fit. Fold the feet into the rear. There's a tab here. These are going to fold upwards and tab into the back of the Winnebago. Bring in the arms, making sure the hands are straight. Flip down the covers. These arms are now going to tab in together like so, and then these are going to slide in to the front of this piece here and then push and tab in fully. This is now the Winnebago shell. This can come in and tab on to Hot Rod's roof canopy. There's these tabs in the back of RODIMUS Prime's knees that tab into the back of Hot Rod's car. Unplug the arm pieces, flip this Winnebago section around and tab that into the side of the car. Compress, closing this off, tabbing that in to the side of the Winnebago. So again, with this side, open up, push into the side, then collapse and tab that in. And there we have one Hot RODIMUS or RODIMUS Prime Winnebago mode. And there we have them all transformed up. That's actually pretty nice. That's a clever idea. I know it was parts for me, for the arms, etc., but I actually liked how that went. It was actually very fluid. It was a very clean transformation, and it holds together remarkably well. I think I may even prefer this alt mode to the Prime alt mode. I know it's going to be very close, but I think I prefer RODIMUS in his alt mode, Hot Rod being the best part of this figure by far. There he is alongside Shattered Glass MP10. Very much looking forward to getting the Shattered Glass version of this figure. Like I said, I don't really like the RODIMUS figure itself, but next to Shattered Glass Prime, I think he's going to look pretty darn good. And here he is alongside some of the other figures. We have the Perfect Effects Truck Prime, which is exactly the same size as the Power of the Primes Prime, and then we have the Last Night Optimus Prime as well. So to give you an idea of how well he scales, he's a very big leader in vehicle mode. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Do you prefer this to Prime? Do you like either? Are these the leaders you're expecting them to be, or are you slightly underwhelmed like I am? Let me know your thoughts by leaving a comment in the comments section below. Thanks again to Robot Kingdom for making this review possible. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, goodbye.